Yo, what's going on? This is the NRW Nerds Rule the World. It's your boy, Kuya P, aka Patrick Michael Strange, and I'm having a marvelous time with the lovely Heather. Don't hurt him. Heather Hurt of New Release Wednesday. How are you, Heather?
I'm good. There's a Moon Knight out, so
it is a Moon Knight, the latest Moon Knight. The world is finally caught up to where we have been for weeks. Seems like forever. Finally, we can talk on this because we were able to check out the first 4 episodes well in advance of the world. But with that knowledge comes, knowledge is power. But with that also comes pain. Responsibility to not talk about it. Definitely responsibility, but it's pain to have that responsibility because you can't talk. You have to wait because there's embargoes or the mouse will sue our ass. And I don't have that kind of money.
I don't know. No.
Yeah. So I know you're excited. I know you've been ready to talk on this. Mm-hmm. So and also for all the people that are finally checking this out, you've seen our Moon Knight coverage. And as we stated, we promised you reviews, but we've also been insanely busy. So we're now going to just give you the 1 through 4 review. And then hopefully as time permits, we'll do like a episode 5 review and episode 6 review. Or if fate happens and we're doing 5 and 6 all together, our apologies. It's just life. It is what it is. But we're giving you other content on the YouTube. So, hopefully that can ease that. But we'll maybe get our act together come Miss Marvel, because I know we're going to be putting a lot of love into Miss Marvel as well. And as well as Multiverse of Madness, which is also a lot of Marvel products coming
We're
soon.
Literally 3 weeks away from Multiverse. So
yeah,
there'll be more.
So there's going to be a lot of talk. There's going to be more conversation. And I'm sure it's going to be me and Heather on that because we're Marvel heads. We love it. So Heather, you ready to rock and roll about Moon Knight? I think we discussed we're going to break down a little bit of the story of 1 through 4, just kind of a quick recap, not our regular full breakdown per episode. We're just going to kind of go into 1 through 4, where we're at, and then I will touch upon some of the characters, and then we'll just kind of give our thoughts on everything. So Heather, kick us off with a breakdown of what we know from 1 through 4.
Okay, so we're real quick, super quick. I'm going to try and keep it under a minute per episode. So the goldfish problem. All Nemo has to have 2 fins, right? We meet Stephen Grant, who has been changed from this, this debonair kind of ladies' man that we see in the comic, that classic Bruce Wayne reference, and he's kind of become this expat in as Oscar Isaac says in the UK. He is a gift shopist, whatever that term is. And we see him just living his normal life. He kind of seems to be in and out. He doesn't know what's going on truly in his life. And then he is literally ripped out of his own world and put into this adorable little Dutch town. I think it's Dutch town, where he starts to see his reality shatter. We get to see it from Steven's perspective. He falls in and out of consciousness. He's awake. All of a sudden, he has a cupcake in his hand and he's trying to kill somebody. He passes out. All of a sudden, he wakes up with a very, very bloody fist. So we kind of see these inklings of Steven's life just falling apart, where the cracks in reality may be. And it all ends with him seeing green screen Moon Knight. We actually got to see the official costume in the first episode, which was kind of crazy. I guess I wasn't surprised, but I guess most people were. Most people didn't think they'd have the costume in the first episode. That was basically the entire trailer, so it would be kind of weird if they didn't show it. But he goes up against Arthur Harrow, of course, who is the primary baddie in the series. We are introduced to Arthur Harrow. And he brings on a jackal, which brings on the suit. Okay, on to episode 2. Summon the Suit is where we get to meet the other side. Wait, green screen. Oh, there we go. we get Mr. Knight because what we see is we see Stephen actually meeting and coming to terms with Mark, who's that's green screen. There we go. I got it. So he actually gets to come to terms and meet Mark. Mark is basically going, hey, dude, I understand you hate me. I'm a mercenary. I've killed a lot of people, but I'm doing this because of a contract with this crazy god of the moon, and there's nothing I can do about it. And Steven's like, nah, I don't want to do that. So he tries to make a run for it. Instead, he meets up with Arthur Harrow. And when he tries to summon the suit, that's once again on the wrong side. We get the first introduction of Mr. Knight, who was only introduced about 8 years ago in the comics. And we see kind of I want to call it a gentrified version of Mr. Knight. We'll talk about that in our review. But that's where that comes in. And what we find out is that Stephen is just simply not up to the job. And along comes Mark, and Mark can finally take back hold of the body and brings back the traditional suit. This is really what's really cool about this episode is we really get to see reality within his own mind just completely separate. He goes into complete disassociation, and Mark can finally take back control of his own body, because that's something we don't know in episode 1, but we really start comprehending in episode 2. It is Mark's body, not Steven's. Steven doesn't get that, but that's okay. Alters, it's a fun thing. Episode 3, running right in, the friendly type, where we meet Midnight Man. Friendly type is where it's Khonshu has demanded that Mark go to Egypt and try and get ahead of Arthur Harrow of finding the great tomb of one of the most dangerous goddesses in Egyptian lore. And we find him literally running through the streets of Egypt, trying to get to the pyramid of whom we find out in episode 4, before anything happens. And we actually get our first moment at a third altar. Don't say no names yet. No names. Shh. But we do get some bloody moments. We get to see a great moment with other gods, including the Egyptian pantheon. Most of what's left of the Egyptian pantheon that is still on this plane, as we know from Thor, most of the gods have left. They left Earth a long time ago. And Khonshu puts his position forward that there's something wrong and that the gods need to intervene. And because their gods are like, no, we're fine. It's okay. No one's doing anything wrong. There's clearly this guy named Harrow used to be your avatar. You're just angry. You're just sad. That leads to one of my favorite moments in the entire series. We'll talk about that in the review. But so we kind of get this point where it just shows that nobody trusts anybody. The gods just do not trust Khonshu. Khonshu is just a mess of a god. And Mark has potentially put his faith into someone that is very dangerous. Couple more things happen. Layla was introduced in episode 2, who is of course Marlene from the comics. But she comes in and she kind of saves the day in Egypt. She is Egyptian. It helps a lot when you're, of the people. And she's able to get him I'm going way too quick and I'm getting myself tongue-tied. Mark is instructed of where he can go and find a potential map to I always get her name wrong. What is the name of the gosh darn god that we're trying to see? Hera's god. Oh my god. I've seen the episodes literally 7 times and I still can't remember.
It's all good. There's only so much we can keep in that nerd mind of ours.
Amit. There we go.
Amit. Yes. Yeah. I was like, I kind of had it there too.
Amit, the alligator god, the crocodile god. I'm sorry. Yes. Goddess. But there's a way that they can find a map to her resting place, not her tomb, as we find out in episode 4. But we find he has a way to do it. He goes to meet who was Midnight Man. And Arthur Harrow decides to try and destroy everything again, gets in the way. But thanks to Stephen Grant, after a quick switch, they are able to decipher the map. But it takes time. And of course, technology and time and space sucks. And everything is constantly changing. We're all going to die eventually in a huge black hole. Khonshu actually gets in super trouble with the gods by completely turning back history, turning back the sky's history so that they can figure out the actual destination via the constellations, which they do. And that brings us to episode 4, which apparently I don't have the name of right here for some reason. But episode 4, where we find Layla and Steven, because of course Mark has said that once Khonshu was gone, Mark would give up the body, and Steven's now being hard-headed and doesn't want to give up the body. And they go into Egypt. They go into the tomb, and they find out that it is Alexander the Great's tomb. They find it just as Arthur Harrow shows, they find the what is it? The Kashtu? Is that how you say it? Can't remember.
Khonshu?
No, the little statue.
Oh.
What's it called? What is the little? Oh my gosh, I can't remember what it's called. The little statue.
Okay.
They find her statue, Amit's statue, in Alexander the Great's throat, just as Arthur Harrow wanders in and then shoots Mark, because Mark is able to take over the body again when Layla confronted him about killing her father, because you shouldn't marry the dude who didn't kill your father, but led the guy who killed your father to killing your father. Probably shouldn't do that. But Mark is able to take back the body, and then he gets shot almost instantaneously by Arthur Harrow. And he ends up in an institution, and a scene that was basically ripped right out of the comic books. And we see most people, if you just look on anywhere generally on the interwebs, it says limbo. Limbo is not a place. Remember, the church confirmed that is not a place. But it's in limbo. And he confronts himself. Mark is actually going and trying to find himself again, and he finds Steven, and that's where we kind of end in this weird spot after they see Pashtu. No, I can't remember. Sorry. They find another tomb, and it's all jiggly jaggly, and of course the conspiracies about who is in the third tomb, or the third sarcophagus in the hospital. We all know who it is. It's Jack. But that's kind of where we end off, and that is where my super quick review of the first 4 episodes that we saw over a month ago.
No worries. That was awesome. I love it. Let me get my notes up. Okay. So to continue on with Heather, I'm going to break down just some of the characters. Thankfully enough for me, at least on my end, I'll be able to swing through this quick because they really kept the same characters at least in these 4 episodes. We didn't really get a lot of new characters added because they really wanted to focus on the central characters. So playing Mark Spector, and also oh my gosh, what's the alias? Stephen Grant. Oh my God, I'm losing it now. Mark Spector / Stephen Grant / Moon Knight is the amazing, lovable Oscar Isaac. As Arthur Harrow, we have the equally adorable Ethan Hawke. Playing Layla El Fa'ali, if I'm pronouncing that right, I apologize if I'm not, is May Kalamawai. As Khonshu, we have F. Mary Abraham. Billy as David Ganley is Billy, and Kanajarin is Bobby. And then another additional amazing cast of characters, but those are your central actors that have continued through episodes 1 through 4. In episode 3 in particular, though, we are introduced to some additional casts, playing Anton Mogart, who's also known as the Midnight Man, who I'm sure that they were planning to do more with this. We'll see if it's recast, because there's a very unique introduction is actor Gaspard Ulliel, who I may be again mispronouncing his name, but unfortunately, as known prior to the arrival of the series, this actor unfortunately passed away in an unfortunate accident. So rest in peace to Gaspard Ulliel, as well as our respects to his family and friends. But that is an integral character because Anton Mogart is known as the Midnight Man and has a very big part within the Moon Knight universe. So that character made his introduction in episode 3, The Friendly Type. I believe that, yes, is all the central characters for episode 3. Also of note, this just caught my attention in this brand new episode 4. There's no title for it. It's just episode 1.4 right now. I'm sure they're going to give it a special name for this new episode y'all are getting this week. But what I noticed in the IMDb, playing Wendy Spector, so because that name caught me because we know it's Mark Spector, Oscar Isaac, / Stephen Grant, but that Spectre name caught my eye. Wendy Spectre is played by Fernanda Andrade, and playing Elias Spectre is an actor by the name of Ray Lucas. Just because the last name Spectre was there, that caught my eye. Maybe Heather can help fill in some of that, because I know a lot of this is pulled from the comic book in this particular episode and just blows us away. So I will come off of characters. Thank you again, Heather, for delivering the story. Let's get into our thoughts, our review of episodes 1 through 4, and maybe you can help clear up some of what my mind was blown again. We can finally talk on episode 4. I thought we were going one way with episode 1 through 3. Then we get to this episode 4 and everything just shits the bed. I don't know what the fuck is happening. And we have this wow moment at the very end of the episode that I know everyone and their mother is going insane. If you've seen the memes, it's hilarious because they've tied it to I forgot what that hippo is from. Was it like Sing? Did they put in? Did you see that meme where they took the screen cap from Moon Knight and then they put in the side by side? I think it was the hippo from Sing. I don't know, but I was like, because we were all just amazed. What the what? So Heather, let's talk.
Okay. Well, so this is one of the reasons I dragged POP into this is because I wanted to know we literally have not talked about this for a month. So it's just like, we need to talk about what your initial reactions were when you watched the show. And I will say this, going back to today, how many people are just freaking out is just the best moment. It's like, I started talking about it yesterday on Twitter. I was like, comic nerds are going to be screaming. They're going to be screaming. And then the moment I woke up this morning, the very first tweet at the top of my feed was, what the fuck happened? Like these huge all caps. And I'm like, yes, what the show is for.
Yeah.
God damn it.
What I've loved seeing personally is I follow a lot of comic creators and a lot of them are my friends. I think Larry Hama, who we know, creator of the 80s American G.I. Joe, because it was created before, but he created what we know to be G.I. Joe now, made the comment, I've worked on the title because apparently he worked on Moon Knight for a bit. And he didn't know too much about the character and he worked on it. He was paid by Marvel and is loving the series, and just a lot of that. There was other creators, but that creator in particular came to mind. But there's creators that worked on Moon Knight, and it's always been a very interesting character. You couldn't really, even when they had their hands in molding this character, in their contributions in comic book form, didn't have a firm grasp as they did with most other characters, because it was pretty much established who like Superman was, Batman was. But with Moon Knight, Mark Spector / Stephen Grant, it was up in the air and it really was never fully cemented. So they're all delighted to where they're coming now. So it was just, you love to see that kind of commentary, or at least I personally feel that way. But yeah, I'd never, and as we did in our lead ups to this, in our other coverage, right? He was a bit player for me. I read some of his actual title work, but I more so caught him in glimpses in appearances. And so for me, I'm enjoying the ride personally. I think it's very interesting. And I love kind of this back and forth, different personalities. It just is a lot more interesting because everybody else that we've read, or at least I've read and have seen on the big screen, are all firmly established. It actually is predictable, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But that's what makes Moon Knight so much more interesting. He's not predictable. And I'm enjoying it. I'm here for it. So just kind of like a brief overview from me and my review thus far of 1 through 4. And I'm confused as fuck with episode 4 that now everybody's seeing it. We thought we were getting at one thing with episodes 1 through 3, 1, 2, and 3, but now it just all shit the bed. And what?
I love it. I love it so much. It's my favorite. I mean, like, Moon Knight is one of my favorite characters. Honestly, the comment of we are both Marvel heads at the beginning of this. Technically, I'm not. I am technically a DC girl.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I will always say,
as soon as that came out of my mouth, I was like, nah, she's all about Moon Knight butts. I mean, well, maybe Moon Knight butts too now, but Nightwing butts. So
I'm a DC girl. I love my Batmans. I love my Man Bats. But it's one of those where I have always been drawn to the noir characters, and that's what Moon Knight really is. Through and through, he is a detective. He is just this classic superhero that does the exact opposite of Batman. He wants to be seen. He's as bright as the moon. You don't fear what you see and what you can't see in the shadows. You fear what's right in front of you, and that's what's always drawn me to him. And of course, the fact that basically since his inception, not the very first moment, but since his inception, it's been about mental health and mental illness. And as someone who constantly fights with it, it's finally something that you can see. And I'm with most people. It's like when Kevin Feige was just like, yeah, let's do Moon Knight. It's like, I mean, I'm here for it. I'm totally here for it. But why? Because when you look at the current cast and characters, you don't have small. You only have big. Like, even if you look at it from the Netflix shows, Jessica Jones and Luke Cage aren't small characters. They are active Avengers. And so you see them regularly. Moon Knight has a niche crowd of fans who are even more niche when it comes to his entire rogues gallery. So, like, going back to one of our previous conversations, I have been reading Moon Knight for almost 2 decades, and I couldn't pull Arthur Harrow out of my ass. Like, I couldn't figure out where he came from. And then I read up, I was just like, okay, I remember that issue. Fine. All right. But it's literally one of those things where he was such a small character, literally one issue, and yet you find a way to put this character in and then make him a complete opposite sort of what he was. Though I do love that Easter egg where he met one of his fellows in the Yucatan. So it does not deny that he could still have been doing Nazi pain experiments in the Yucatan. Nice one, Marvel. I see what you did. But I've loved every second. It's literally the end of the ending of the 4th episode is like walking out of a damn comic book. It is so, like, literally scene to scene, panel to panel, just waiting for Khonshu to come out and be like, all right, wake the fuck up, Mark. You got to do it. It's time. Let's get up. Come on. But I just want to call back, like, one of my favorite moments. They're just not shying away from anything. There's just this great moment when Arthur Harrow is brought back to the Pyramid of Giza, and he comes in and he looks down at Khonshu's little statue thingy. I can't remember what it's called. I'm sorry. And he's like, I'm only doing, if you didn't break me down so completely, I wouldn't have been able to do this. And it was just like, you encapsulated everything that a hero truly is from a villain's perspective. And we never talk about the psychoses that come about from being the superhero. And everything you see on mental illness just becomes a villain's origin story. You never really dig into it. Instead, we actually we have Arthur Harrow coming in and saying, this destroyed me so much. I am now worse, but I'm making it everyone else's problem. And it's just this beautiful, I mean, it's not beautiful, it's terrible. It thoroughly shows the cyclical nature of pain and suffering and trauma.
You can understand it. You can formulate an understanding.
It's
right?
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
The show has just it's been a wonderful smack in the face, cinematically, mentally, emotionally. And it's just, I love it so much. I want to hug it.
I dig that. I love that. Yeah.
So, the one thing I will say, the one thing that I know a lot of people are upset with is, which way that way, is I do kind of understand why people are upset about Mr. Knight's entire persona. He is technically the detective. He is the rich detective who goes into crime scenes and solves everything. Like, that's what he's supposed to be. And instead, he kind of was put down to the fact that this is Steven's suit versus him actually being like a full superhero. This is his persona as a suit. I don't know. I kind of love that fact. I understand why people are upset. It's not Mr. Knight from the comic. That is honestly that is the furthest comic thing, is his persona as Mr. Knight. It's still a fucking cool suit.
Yeah. It's a great visual, and so actually that was going to be one of my next questions to you, because again, like I'm enjoying it, but I don't have the deep comic roots related to it. So with you being, as you said, 2 decades worth of a fan reading the material and now comparing it to this live action version, and you've already kind of said you're enjoying it. For those that are in that same fashion, do you feel it's fulfilling that need, that it's even with the adjustments that were made, it's still a good portrayal of Moon Knight from comics to screen?
Are you talking about like this, the general, like the overarching
overall
response?
like even with the adjustments made, it's still at its core very true to Moon Knight?
I honestly,
at the end of the day, that's what you just really want, that
Yeah.
is keeping to those core values of Moon Knight, or
Absolutely.
of the character.
So when it comes at a full encompassing all fandom kind of thing, you're never going to make everyone happy.
Yeah.
Ever. And the thing is, when it comes down to it, we have to look at it from how anyone is how the creatives are putting these characters from ink to screen. And I want to use the example. I don't mean to use Batman. It's just, it's not in relationship to Moon Knight. I'm not comparing them. I want to use the example of the Batman, though. How many people bitched the crap out of that movie and then went in and they're like, oh crap, that's exactly what the creator wanted, and it's exactly what's on the page, and oh my God. What we are seeing exactly what the creatives wanted, the creatives who did the show wanted. You can see the passion, you can see where they did pull, where you realize that they needed to change things. And so at a very general fan level, I think most comic fans are very happy with this series. There are moments that are exactly out of the comics, and you're like, well, shit, I can't be mad at that. They did it like that's the same thing. So most of the nitpicks are nitpicks. I'm not happy because it's not the character from the comic. Well, we have to change some things. We have to. And how they did it makes sense.
I feel that.
So I think that overall comic fans have been very happy.
I agree. And I will add to that. And as I said, with a lot of things, when nerds, our fellow nerds, compare, and which they always do, you know what? At the end of the day, if you want that comic character, go pick up the motherfucking comic book, pull it back out of your long box, read the digital, whatever. It's still there. All that content is there. They're just, all this that we're getting now is just adding to the stuff we already love. Some's going to be for you, some's going to be not for you. What you still love is always there. It's not going away. When people say they've ruined my character, your character's not ruined. Your character's still there. You just got to read that content again. It's just, if you're talking about new shit, okay, this new stuff may not be for you. It'll always come back. Time always progresses, it'll come back around again. It's just not your turn at the moment.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
It does not have to be. Sorry, Spider Bros.
Exactly. Dude Sorry. Bros.
It's
all
not.
That. And especially because there's people contemplating, total tangent, Thor Love and Thunder. Jane Foster had the hammer in the comic book. Y'all, if you didn't read it, that's on y'all. Those that are now seeing and loving it, like Heather and I, who love it, whatever, so yes, Captain America was Falcon in the comic book, now on the screen again, and is Captain America. Get over it. There we go. In the story. Tangent. I'm sorry, Heather. I had to tell them again. Because we both hate these dude bros.
I can't. It's, guys, I'm sorry to tell you, but Pac and women exist. We are on this planet. It happens. And I just
so aggravating.
The only thing that toxic masculinity does is make you look like an asshole.
Hey.
So, but it's not even that. It's I actually did TikTok about this a while ago. When you hate on something so trivial, that is a form of gatekeeping. It doesn't matter if you mean to do it. And I use this example of like the movie stickers that you get on books. It's like, now on Netflix, now a major motion picture, blah, blah, blah. There are people who will literally not pick up a book and they will do nothing but scream and yell and cry about it because it has a little sticker on it. One, they're stickers. You can remove them. Two, then don't pick up the book. Pick up a different version. Buy it digitally. Support your local comic shop. But, you don't have to buy that copy. When you're saying and actively hating on a series for something so minute and trivial, that is actually a form of gatekeeping and will keep new fans from coming. If you want your shit the way that you want it, the only way to do that is for more people to come in, more people to spend money, more people to be actively part of the fandom so that more can happen. But if you are actively gatekeeping and keeping people away from a fandom, guess what? You ain't gonna get more shit.
There it is. It's plain and simple. It's plain and simple. So my apologies to get you all heated up too, Heather, on that tangent, but I feel it all the time, and it's a part of it, what I'm saying? And as commentators on this, it relates to what we're talking about. So that's why it has to be said. So I have further questions, but really not. I'm just WTF over this new episode 4. And now that we can talk about it, as you said, a lot of it's pulled straight from the comic book. I believe the Lemire run. I'm curious, and for everybody watching this and Disney Marvel, because we don't want to be sued. We haven't seen episode 5 and 6. They haven't shown it to us. So we can now throw out predictions. I'm curious, where do you think this is heading? What did we just see? You gave us 1 through 3, and now you just like shit the bed, and I don't know what to do. What's going on? I'm curious with what Heather. What we've seen, where do we think it's going? I want to know. Okay.
First off, to go to the people who are really mad at the like 3 journalists who got to see episode 5 because they accidentally uploaded the screener for episode 5 to like the second release. We had a chance to watch episode 5. We were not lucky enough to do it. So don't be mad at us. Okay. Don't be mad. We did not see it.
We did not see it. Because I would have called her and yeah, we would have, yeah.
I would have been screaming, oh my God. But it's one of those where, so what I foresee is he needs to have a wake up moment. I do foresee that we will meet Jake. I think I said Jack at the beginning of this. I did. It's not. It's Jake. I'm sorry. I was going very quickly. We're going to finally meet Jake. Probably, I think by the end of the 3rd episode, because they're going to have to open up that 3rd sarcophagus and they're going to figure out what happens. And we need a bulldog like Jake to get him out of this limbo state. And into a fighting stance again. We need that kind of character. How he's going to get, so in the Lemire run, of course, he needed Khonshu to really wake him to help Mark wake up from the nightmares, from the dreams. But he is, of course, in solid stone right now. And he needs Mark to come get him. So I think that there's going to be some sort of weird telepathy between the two of them. And
a quick pause, if I may. I'm sorry. Before you continue. We're shot, as we saw at the beginning of episode 4, we're shot and we're in limbo is what you think is going on. This whole, whatchamacallit,
daydream.
Cuckoo, one fell out of the cuckoo's nest or whatever. Ender isn't the real reality. That's limbo reality in Spectre's brain right now. Because I'm so confused, Heather. I'm so confused because it's like they were rewriting everything. Like, is this the current reality, or is this now the reality because he got shot and we're still in the desert? Like, I don't know. Because there's all these markers.
So this goes back to a conversation.
Or are we sleeping? Are we dreaming?
We could all be dreaming. This could be a huge waking nightmare. So one of the things that I brought up.
I'm sorry, there's that multiverse prediction that remember if somebody posted that and you were like, nah, fuck that shit. Remember they're like we're on different Mark Spectors right now. And I was like, nah, bruh.
All right. I want to talk about this hippopotamus in the room. Okay. If you are downplaying dissociative identity disorder or any other mental illness with the concept of the multiverse, see yourself out the door. Do it right now. And I'm talking to you, Nerdist. And I actually I deeply respect most of the people that work there. Do not dismiss, downgrade, don't do any of the D words to anything when it comes to mental illness, because you are directly impacting positive conversation that could save a child's life. I'm not talking adults. Yes, many of us suffer, but where it usually begins is a child. Mark's DID started very young. Do not use the multiverse as an excuse, because what you're doing is you are deliberately hurting somebody. So sorry to tangent that off.
But that had to be said, because when we both saw that, I saw your commentary on that, and I was like, nah, bruh. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that one's off the table, because I felt that one, and you felt it too, obviously.
It's fine.
All right.
I'm not in the right in the midst of a huge mental breakdown myself or anything. It's totally fine.
Love you, homie.
So when it comes to limbo, I really don't know if I'd call it limbo, because I think it is more of an unconsciousness, a self-consciousness. I don't know, because once again, I don't believe in limbo. I don't think that's an actual state, but what he could be doing is having a literal dream, because that's the only way he would truly meet himself, right? Is if he's stuck in his own head. And himself, because remember, we do have a third self coming. Yeah. You can all stop crying. He's on his way.
Yeah, because he got shot, or quote unquote shot.
Yeah.
That whatever state that is, mm-hmm. And that's where my confusion is now at, because cinematically, we know he got shot, and then this now new situation has occurred, and so now like my WTF is, where is that state, or is that the current state we're at, or is everything been a dream state? So I'm in limbo and trying to figure it out.
No, so this goes back to a conversation we had in one of our other videos,
where
I said that there is an actual ongoing theory that Khonshu is another personality, because with Moon Knight, we don't know for sure. So could episode 3 end up being all about how this was, how he is if this happens, I will actually stop watching Disney. I am not kidding. He's actually within some multiverse state, and that third personality is just another version, and they're all just hitting each other real hard in this weird hospital-like place with talking blue hippo goddesses, which if there's an actual mental institution with talking blue hippo goddesses, I'm there. I will go there. But no, what I think it is, it's, how you hear when someone dies, they kind of just go into themselves for a few, or, when they have near-death experiences, they go into themselves and see their entire past. I think that's where he is. I think he's in just this internal state of consciousness where he is dying, but everything's going very slow. Everything's very pulled out. He's trying to figure out himself, and what himself is 3 different people. And so he needs to confront that. He also needs to wake himself up somehow so that he can go wake up Khonshu and stop the end of the world. And I'm still trying to remember what that goddamn statue thingy is called. They say it like 13 times in episode 4, and I cannot. She's stuck down Alexander the Great's throat. That's all that we know. But he needs to go and he needs to shatter it so he can come out and help and Mark can help save the world. Now, here's the question. Do you want the post Moon Knight theories that go along with the Thor trailer that just came out?
I'm ready for all of that. Yeah, because like I'm just in a WTF, and I'm curious what your predictions are for 5 and 6, where we're gonna go from here, what is exactly happening. But yeah, if you have those predictions as well, I'm all for it.
Okay, all right. So that's what I think.
Again, Marvel can't sue us because we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know diddly.
We seriously don't know. 5, I believe, is him coming out of this mental state. We're going to meet Jake. We will finally meet Jake. I do think that he's going to be a brawler. He's going to be that typical New Yorker. At least I hope he is. And one thing that we did mention, we do have the casting list of his parents.
Yeah. So so that was in reference to who I pointed out earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Jake will be a new introduction, you believe? Whoever that may be.
I think there's going to be, it's either going to be an Easter egg or it's just going to be like a visit, like, his parents or his family. So I can't remember if they said it. I can't remember the name now. It might be his brother that it is, but there's going to be a family moment at the hospital. That's what I think is going to happen. Because
we did have the 2 Spectres that I stated that were in episode 4 and on IMDb. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. Were they in episode 4?
Yeah. That's what I said earlier when I was breaking down the character list. There was 2 Spectres that caught my eye when I was like talking about new characters introduced per episode. Episode 4, we got Midnight Man, and rest in peace to the actor that portrayed him. And then for episode 4, there's 2 additional actors, and what caught my eye is that their last name were Spectres. So we had those 2 Spectres introduced.
I did not.
I don't remember them in the particular episode. I'd have to watch the episode again. But yeah.
Okay.
What caught my eye is we had 2 other Spectres.
But with the fact that all of our main characters that we've seen, or all the side characters, most of them are side characters we've seen across the board, are there, it would make sense that a parental unit or a brother or a sibling of some sort would also be there. Because it's literally his consciousness breaking down his life. It just puts him into a psychiatric ward, which we saw as an Easter egg in episode 2. That's where we got that. So I do think that episode 3 is him waking up and going to get Khonshu. And then, of course, the big fight. Will Harrow actually open up the little statue thingy and bring upon the end of the world with the release of Ammit? And honestly, and I'm going to say this and probably going to piss off some people, I think Ammit's going to get free. But I think she's just going to kill Harrow.
Okay. So,
that's my opinion. What about you?
I don't know, because again, I can't relate it to the comic books. I'm here for the ride. I'm curious who's going to be the dominating personality going forward, or is there ever, will one of the personalities get erased? Well, I don't know, because he's such an unpredictable character, and which I don't want anybody to go, because I love Stephen Grant. I just that first episode got me, laters gators, just I know he's Oscars, putting together like for in his own words, like the worst UK accent ever or whatever, but I'm enjoying it. I enjoy that personality. I like that. And then when he becomes the rough tumble Mark Spector, I'm here for that too. I'm here for the character. I love that it's helping, speak on such an important issue as the idea is. I'm just really here for the ride. Because comics and just life in general has become so predictable. I enjoy the insanity, the unpredictable nature that is Moon Knight. So wherever it takes me, I'm here for it. I want I will say the I forgot the character's name, but the wife that he has, the quote unquote wife, what's the name?
Layla?
Yes. I want her to be happy, you want somebody that's always been there for you, you want that person to be happy. So I hope she has her happiness, whatever that may be, because I don't know, is this character married or not, because, Stephen Grant is, but Mark Spector is. But then, I see I saw, we saw those kind of like romantic moments where she was connecting a little bit, right? Well, at least maybe to the Spectre, maybe not Stephen Grant. I don't know. But, I want happiness there. When somebody loves somebody, you want that love to be returned, so I'm hoping that for her as an end result. I don't know what's going to happen. So again, I'm here for the ride, and so let's go further. I'm dying for 5 and 6 because we've been waiting for so long. That's what I know, because you and I have been sitting on it. Let us see where this finishes out. I'm here for that. But now I'm curious though, because we got the Thor: Love and Thunder trailer recently, and you said there's some Moon Knight kind of connections. What do you have to say on that?
Okay. All right. So one of them actually has to do with Amit coming back, and why I think she is going to come back. I think that Gore the Godslayer who will be played by Christian Bale, and why we did not see him. So one of the big theories across the board is that he did not show up in the trailer because he is part of a Moon Knigget thing. So I agree. I do think that he's going to show up at the end, and I would not be surprised if Amit is killed by him. A lot of people are like, well, Khonshu's going to be killed. I don't think Khonshu's going to be killed, because the reason is because we need Khonshu for Moon Knight, and Moon Knight has been confirmed in Midnight Suns. Give me my damn Blade, Moon Knight, and Black Knight movie. Give it, God damn it, give it to me. I do think that he's going to show up at the end. It will more likely either be a what a lot of people say is it's going to be an extra bit at the end. I actually think it might end with Gore showing up. Like, that's how it's going to end. What a lot of people are like, okay, well then what's the special? I think what the special piece is that a lot of people are asking, how does Thor's hammer get fixed? Well, this dude right here has the power of a moon god and can hold a hammer made of moon rock. Potentially put a hammer made of mostly moon rock together. So with that being said, what we will see, which is actually why I am surprised Jane showed up in the trailer altogether, is him fixing the hammer. So that is what I think will happen. We'll be at the final scene.
Interesting. And I could see Jane coming, with what her work does, she could appear in there. Like, It would make sense. Okay. How do you see Moon Knight fitting with the rest of the MCU? So, well, you said Midnight Suns, so that is a hopeful thing, because now we're getting that darker side of Marvel, right? And we know we're getting Black Knight. We know we're getting Blade. So just his interaction with this rest of this universe now. And, we have Shang-Chi, we have all this new interesting element that is the next phase. Are there things you want to see, or just any other predictions or things you see, or how it's going to fit?
He is going to fit. Him and the other small characters. I think what we're going to see is a lot of what we talked about with the Eternals, where it kind of felt like it was its own film in its own piece. Characters like Moon Knight, like Blade, they are not necessarily not going to be part of the MCU. I kind of foresee them as they are going to be the other. The only way to make a universe this big work is if you have segments. And I think that Moon Knight, Blade, Black Knight, characters like the Eternals, where you kind of need to either know who they are, or you really just need to be fully invested to enjoy it. That's where these guys are going to hang out.
Yeah. And you kind of, well, I'll speak for myself. I kind of want that, and then when they eventually do something that's like what happened with Endgame, that really brings everybody together, that's when that moment will really hit and make it super cool, So why not? Yeah, just let it be the other now. We had the big universe expanding moment where we had to come together. That's what got us here, to make us such huge MCU cinematic fans, right? Mm-hmm. Now we can kind of just kick back into the shadows and chill, and that will give us that long buildup. Because I think what was so cool about what we got with Endgame was we saw the buildup happen. It took that time. Now we've done that. now we can do the slow build again. So then when we bring these characters again, or if not, just let these characters be there and then occasionally appear. Because that's what's so beautiful about comics as well, in a way, right? We just love our regular titles. Then when we come together in a big, the big event, the event comic books, which we know about all, because it kind of became too much of a thing where you had event comics that it became, let's get back to just the character building within the stories itself, right? That, yeah, it'll just make that journey whole worthwhile. Would you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, there we go. Moon Knight. I'm just dying for 5 and 6. I'm at that still the WTF moment, but I like hearing some of what your thoughts are and where we're going to go. And then going forward, I'm here for the ride. That's what's so special about this character. It's unpredictable. And we need that when we have such a, predictable reality.
Unfortunately true.
Yeah. So Heather, don't hurt him. There we go. Moon Knight. How can what can we expect? Or you drop your regular new release Wednesday stuff. You got the amazing new comic retailer show that's gonna drop. How can they also reach out to you?
You can find me on the tweeters at NerdIsAHeather and at HeatherIsANerd on Instagram and TikToks.
There you go. Show Heather all the love. We don't get paid for this at the moment yet, y'all. So just pay us back in love with follows and subscribes and shares to help us build with what we're doing. So that way, those people with the pockets can pay us. So just show us love in payments by likes and subscribes and shares. That's what we need. All right. For me, it's the Legend Kuya P on Twitter, TikTok, and IG. Of course, Show Pal Show for that Filipinx content. And here with Heather and the whole squad at the NRW and at New Release Wednesday, where nerds rule the world. Those are our feelings all about Moon Knight 1 through 4. We will give you our 5 and 6 love very soon. We can't wait because we can't wait to watch it. But let us know what you feel in the comments below, whether we're off track or on track or whatever. It's unpredictable, y'all, and we're here for it. Y'all, Moon Knight, Heather, Kuya P, we're out of here. Bye.